You're watching us, 6abc.com or the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. I'm Mike Missanelli, Derek Gunn, and Seth Joyner. All right, it's time for a 2-minute drill as we kind of go over what happened in this game. A total domination by the Eagles, 38-7. And we had some weird things happen in this game. So before I get to the 2-minute drill, questions for you guys. I don't think I've ever seen early in a game the 10-yard chain got busted up, and they had to go to a reserve chain. Have you ever seen that happen?
I have never seen that happen, and on top of that, then they show an ISO shot of the chain being taped to the pole. Now, that slowed the game down a good, 5 minutes? And I'm thinking, these games are long enough. Although the NFL did announce that this year, for the first time since 1993, the games are a lot shorter. The games have been averaging across the board 3 hours, 2 minutes, which I don't believe. But I'm thinking, man, we're going to be here all night waiting for a doggone chain to be replaced. Then they bring a chain out, and it's all wrapped up.
That's what I think.
They got to unwrap it.
First of all, I was shocked that they had a backup chain. I thought they had to run to Home Depot on Delaware Avenue up the street and get a chain. But the second thing is, you're right about the tangle. It's like, you have a 100-foot, one of those 100-foot orange extension cords, and you can never get it wrapped right.
I go through it all the time.
It was the same thing with this damn chain. They bring it out, they still
I'm like, seriously? Are you kidding me? We're waiting. The game's delayed because of a broken chain?
Wait. I've never seen it.
Philadelphia gamesmanship.
Psychological ploy?
They took the Giants, got like 8 yards on the play, and then the next thing you know, you had a delay, took them out of rhythm. They didn't have any water in their hotel last night. Yeah.
No, this morning.
The
whole hotel did not have water.
There you go, Philadelphia gamesmanship.
Let me ask you this, Seth, though. I know we're getting off the subject here. But with today's technology, you find it odd they still have to use the chain with the sticks and don't have a laser or something that could calculate the 10 yards?
Well, listen, old habits die hard, man. And I mean, could there be some type of, improved technology? Well, there has been. Because, back in my day, the numbers, they used to flip them. Now at least, they got the little levers and they look better. They're lightweight,
aesthetically better.
So when you run into them, like I've run into those chains, the poles before, and when you're like running at one of those guys that's holding them, when they see you coming, they just let it go. They just drop it. So I've like bent up one of those chains before. I've broken the chain before on the sideline.
What,
so,
in a fit of rage?
No, during the play.
Oh, during the play.
Making a tackle.
I thought you snapped it.
Making a tackle where you can hit the guy out in the white.
All right, let's get into more 2-minute drill. So the first question is the obvious question. It's the broad, vague question. Are they back to what we saw early in the year where they were the number one team without question in the NFC?
I would have to say yes based on this performance. Go back to the first time they played the Giants when they ran for 253 yards on the Giants. Leading up to this game, you heard a lot of people on the outside looking in saying, the Giants were beat up on defense. They didn't have Leonard Williams, didn't have Adoree Jackson, didn't have Xavier McKinney in the back end of that defense. Oh, well, those guys were healthy tonight. They ran for 268 on them tonight. So I think that shuts up that notion. For whatever reason, the running game was stagnant. The running game blew it wide open tonight. That's a significant reason why they won this game tonight. It's because they dominated the trench warfare in this game.
Seth?
Listen, I felt all along that, the key to this offense and this defense and this team performing at the level that we saw tonight was, having Jalen Hurts back. And if he's back 100%, after being 5 weeks on the shelf, so to speak, then this team is a dangerous football team. They are right there, what we expected, and what we had come to expect, I should say, them to be when they were 12-0, 12-1, 13-1, up to 14-1. So I think they're there. I think that, this team thrives off the leadership of Jalen Hurts. They thrive off of, his play on the field, the way he sells out what he's willing to do. He's not going to ask those guys as a leader to do something that he's not willing to do. And he's showing that by, okay, I'll run the ball, I'll throw the ball, I'll slide, I'll do whatever I got to do to win the game. And when you see your quarterback willing to do that, the rest of the team is willing to do that, and they've played that way all season long. So I think they are back.
All right. Question 2. And this is something that wasn't revealed today. We always worry about linebackers and coverage, especially when it comes to a tight end. They didn't have to face that today. The Giants really didn't have a tight end threat that was going to test their linebacker coverage. But these two teams, they're going to play tomorrow, and one survivor is going to have that guy. Are we worried about that at all?
I think we should be, because when you look at a guy like George Kittle, he's one of the most physical, athletic tight ends in the game today. He's definitely in the top 5 among tight ends in the National Football League. Dalton Schultz for the Cowboys has been an emerging tight end all season long, has the ability to get separation. There's one aspect we've had inconsistencies with is covering the tight ends coming off the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, that's a genuine concern that the Eagles have to try to shore up getting ready for whoever they play next week.
I think that Jonathan Gannon is going to have to make some adjustments next week, and I think he's going to have to figure out a way to balance it up. When the Eagles get in trouble as far as the tight ends are concerned, more times than not they'll go to dime. And even when they go to dime, they will take Kazir White off the field, and they'll go man with T.J. Edwards in the hole. I don't feel like that coverage necessarily works, because you're losing a guy in coverage. And T.J. is not the type of linebacker that you drop in the hole like in Tampa 2 or in any other coverage to be a hole player. He doesn't have the speed, to be able to get to, and he's not very good at reading the quarterback's eyes. So there's going to be a problem, because I think the better teams realize that the middle of the field is where you can really attack this Eagles defense in the passing game. You can really make hay there. If you go back and you look at the games where they've had problems with tight ends catching balls up the seams, crossing routes, guys not communicating pre-snap, even in man situations, in zone situations, not passing off routes and things of that nature. So I think that Jonathan Gannon has to realize that whether you're talking about the Cowboys, because they did that to us in the second game, or whether you're talking about Kyle Shanahan and his ability to take film and break down, your weaknesses, they're going to see that glaring weakness and they're going to attack it. They're going to get there. They're going to go spread with a tight end or Christian McCaffrey out the backfield, and they're going to try to operate in the middle of the field. And if Jonathan Gannon doesn't have an answer for it, it's going to be problematic.
All right, third question is about Lane Johnson. And we kind of took him for granted today. You could tell he was hurting. There were a lot of plays where you saw him kind of hitch a little bit. So give me your evaluation of how he survived this game and what we can expect as these games get bigger in merit.
Well, I would say first and foremost, mind over matter, because, when it comes to him, it don't matter. If he can walk, hobble, limp, whatever he has to do, you're going to have to strap Lane Johnson down to keep him off that football field. He was able to get through that game. It really bothered me initially when you saw him grab at the groin area his first drive of the game. And I'm thinking, I hope he's not going to have to sit the rest of the night. He finished what he started. As I said on the pregame show, it was imperative that Lane was able to finish what he starts, and he did. Now he's got a week to rest up and get ready for an even tougher test, whether they play the Cowboys or whether they play the 49ers. Moving forward, play by play, series by series, is just something that you have to closely watch. He might be able to get through it, but as we all know, and I'm sure Seth can attest to this, one wrong turn, one wrong push one way or the other, and it could be detrimental for Lane.
Well, that instance that you were talking about in the first quarter, where he kind of flinched, I think that was a situation where he got hit from an angle that he wasn't expecting. He was battling his guy. His guy kind of went down inside, and he bumped into Isaac Seumalo, and it kind of tweaked it a little bit. I think Lane's going to be fine. I really do. I think that, the best thing that could have happened tonight is him not having to play against a premier pass rusher. Now, next week he's going to face one. He's either going to face, Bosa. He's going to face, DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to face, Micah Parsons. He's going to face an elite level guy, and they're going to run some stunts to see if he has the lateral movement and the ability to get in and get back out off of that groin. But, to D. Gunn's point, if it don't mind, then it don't matter.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? If he's not thinking about it, he just goes out and plays, then he'll be fine. The minute you start thinking about it is when you start drawing that negativity to yourself, and something's bound to go wrong.